Well, good afternoon, good evening. To those that are in a different country, I want to say, well, it's evening there. Good morning to some. And I want to welcome you so much for being here on Leslie's Lessons Learned. I couldn't do it without you. The last time we met was December. I was thinking of that, like, oh, wow, I went a whole month. And I want you to know that I really missed you. So, this is Leslie's Lessons Learned, and my name is Leslie Montgomery, and I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to start off the 1st of February. How about that? We're already in February. Already
Unbelievable.
in February.
Unbelievable.
And so I want to just take a moment, and I want to thank my guests. When I watch her all the time. I'm always looking to see what she's doing. We always send a little text. We got to talk. We got to get together. Well, I guess this is our first time getting
The
together,
first.
but
Yes.
I love this. I want to say young lady. She's a beautiful woman, and she loves God. She loves
He's
people,
first.
and she loves what she does. And a little thing is that we started. I met Leslie in 1212, and it was three of us. It was Leslie Briscoe, Leslie Bonds, and Leslie Montgomery.
Yep.
And Rod said, "We can't do this. We can't do this. I'm gonna call you L3." So now everybody calls me L3.
I love
And
it.
then she was like, "Gotta put a P on there for the prophet." So they call me PL3, and that's how my name got started because of you guys. And
I love
so
it. All the
I
Leslies.
yeah, yeah, yep, yep, yep. So I want to thank you so much, Leslie, for being here today. And I want you to take a moment and just introduce yourself because I can't give you justice.
Oh, well, thank
So,
you. That's humbling. And I have to tell you, I love you. And it is an honor and a privilege to be on your show today and just to talk with you in general. We have said for, I don't know, we're going on 4 years now that because this all started in 2020. And I love the 1212 community
yeah.
and the relationships that have come out of it. Um, I love all of that community. And
And we
to tell
love
you,
you.
oh, well, thank you. I'm glad. And it's, even when I'm not as active, I feel like I have a family. It's a
You
family to
do.
me. Um, I talked to someone, Dana Hutchinson, last night, and it's like, we
Dana.
had just talked yesterday. I saw
Yeah.
Leslie and Laureen last week on my
Did
workshop,
you?
and it just
Oh,
felt like
yeah.
family. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it just felt like family. So, I'm grateful for 1212, and I'm grateful for all that I've learned, continue to learn, and the relationships and sisterhood really
yeah.
that has come from it. So,
Yeah.
to tell you a little bit about me, I am
Oh,
another Leslie, Leslie Briscoe Andrews. And professionally, I am a director of merchandising for the Home Depot. So I have about 30 years of experience in the merchandising world. Primarily started out in the fashion world and worked for some of the big retailers like Macy's, Dick's Sporting Goods, American Eagle Outfitters, Carter's Children's Clothing. And now I work for the Home Depot. I
wow.
made a pivot in 2020, decided to get into a new industry and learn all about home improvement. So it's been exciting, challenging, but on the side, and what I feel like my superpower and gift is really people and relationships. And I would say over the years, my family has nicknamed my sister and I actually the chaos coordinators. And
The
it's
chaos coordinators. You and
yes,
your sister.
my sister and I.
Wait,
So
wait, wait. What's your sister's name?
her name is Lauren. We're
I knew
all
I was
L.
going to say it's an L.
It's a L. So my mom is Linda. I'm Leslie. My sister is Lauren.
But
So
wait, I have to tell you this. My older sister's Linda. I'm
oh my
Leslie,
goodness.
and then my brother's Lester. So it's Linda Leslie.
So we're related. We're related. We got the memo. And actually, I was going to name my daughter an L name,
Were you
and that
really?
that's a whole nother story. She came out as Gabrielle, but her name was supposed to be Lexi. So she was going
Oh,
to be a part of the L's too. But something else happened and we had to pivot on her name.
Pivot
God
on
told
that.
me something
She
else.
does look like Alexi.
I think she does too,
Yeah,
right?
she does.
I tell her that I'm like, your name really is Lexi, but God said Gabrielle, so that's who she is.
Okay. Okay. We can't fight him.
No, no, totally. Yeah, I was listening on that one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I would say over the years, organizing is just like a natural thing for me. You don't realize that others consider that a gift when it is your ministry. Whenever I've done my spiritual gifts, I'm always in, organization, administrative, good at kind of seeing the big picture, coming up with a strategy. And over the years, as I've been in leadership and in management roles, I've had to, and taken on like additional responsibility, I've had to stay more and more organized. And then, as we know, life happens, as you get more responsibility and things happen, and suddenly you are a divorced mom, working with a 2-year old, and you're still traveling and, needing to meet deadlines and goals, but you have a little one and you need to take care of the family and you need to pick up the daycare and, all the things.
Yeah.
So that really, when I look back at those days, that was when I really had to get serious and realize like what works for me. How do I get myself organized? How do I still show up at work? How do I show up at home? How do I still be a good daughter and a sister? Whatever my, affiliations with church and the things that I was committed to there, how do I get all of this done and still get it done in excellence? And
Yeah.
I would say over the years, and I think a lot of people struggle with this, is the whole thing about work-life balance.
Work
And
balance.
yes,
Yes.
and I have pivoted over the years. I will tell you, I chased after work-life balance. I thought I got it down. And when I tell you I am highly productive, I can get a lot of things done, but then I can just keep going. And then you kind of miss the point,
Mhm.
where you're just constantly just like the taskmaster.
Yeah.
And I realized as I got older and as different situations happened in my life that it's really more about work life well being and really finding the time that you need to do the things that bring you joy, that allow you to take a pause, um, be involved with your family, be present with your family, do the things to take care of yourself so that you can go back out there
Right.
and be that taskmaster and be productive at work and, all of those things. So it's been a journey, but it's been a
Don't
great
pay
one.
me no mind. I'm trying to tag some people. So
Oh,
don't
no problem.
I'm not a
No
pain. I'm
problem. I
being
see
I'm
Nikki
listening. I'm just
Howard.
trying to tag some people. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Totally fine.
Yeah. So we were talking backstage in the green room, as they
In the
say,
green room.
about your book that came out. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about the discussion you were having, or the ream you had done, reel you
Mhm,
had done, and
mhm.
you were talking about going to work to be seen. I think
Oh, yeah.
that that's a very interesting conversation, because that's what we do a lot. We think that when we go to work to be seen, that's when the promotions come.
Absolutely. And I was completely caught up in all of that. You know, I think, society creates this competitiveness in all of us that, if I do this, this, and this, I'm going to get to the next step. And I think it starts in high school. So, I'm going to
Mm,
do these things. I'm going to graduate from high school. And then if I'm going to go to technical school or college, 4 years, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to get the great job. And then I'm going to get married. And then I'm going to have kids. And then, on and on and on and on. And so
yeah,
I'm a recovering perfectionist. I say recovering
you
because it's
recover.
still I'm recovering. It's still there. Um, but life happens. And so, you know what? I did those things. I graduated, in 4 years. I graduated with honors. I got a good job. I did not get married right away. And that was strange for me. I'm like, well, what's going on? I didn't get married until I was 32. And
Okay.
then I thought the first time. And then I thought, okay, now I'm ready to have a baby. Well, that did not happen.
Okay.
3 miscarriages,
Um,
a lot of prayer, a lot of heartache. It took me 7 years before I conceived and had my daughter. And then she was born at 28 weeks. So
wow.
then there was like a lot more drama with that.
Yeah.
So when those things are happening and you're somebody that is so conditioned by society, you know, by our families, by the beliefs that people put in us and place on us, you really get to the point that you're like, what am I doing? I mean, when I tell you show up to be seen on Saturday, when I first started out in my career in retail, I was there before my boss. I would not, I mean, even if it was 2 minutes, I was there. I made sure I was in the office before she was in the office. I stayed late. I waited until she was gone. I wanted to be seen as the hard worker. Yeah, I'll stay late. I can do that, turn that project in. I might not get home until 7, 8 o'clock and still have work to do. On Saturdays, you know, I think somebody in leadership told me one time, you should you know, come in on Saturday so people see that you're really hungry for this and you'll probably get the next promotion. Okay, so guess what? Leslie was there. I'm like, you know, a people pleaser. I am going to get in there. I'm going to do it. So then I was there on Saturday, which would end up being not 1 or 2 hours, but then you're there half the day. And really just got into this really awful, awful cycle. And it took some things happening in life for me to like wake up and realize this is not what God has for me. This is not the life
Mm,
that I want. I'm miserable. Even though I have the promotion, now I think I've got to prove myself even more. And it just goes on and on and
it's
on
a
and on.
cycle.
It
It's a
is.
cycle.
Yep,
Yeah.
and you get so caught up in it, and I think what ends up happening is some people never even realize it. You know, they miss the many messages that they're given, and they just keep going and going and going, and they realize they're not even happy. You know, they're not even satisfied, or that wasn't even the job that they wanted. You know, when I look back and I look at how hard I worked for some promotions, it took me not getting this one promotion for me a year after that, after not being happy,
Hmm.
asking God why. You know, I had the credentials, I did the work, I was at all the meetings, I stayed late, I did all the things. But it took me almost a year after that, what I considered a loss at the time, to realize I didn't even want that job. You know, I wouldn't have even been happy in that job. Yes, I probably could have done that job and done it well, but it really wasn't what God had for me, which is
Right.
why He shut the door.
Hmm.
But in
Hmm.
the moment, at the time, you are so focused on getting to what you think is that goal. And do you think it's the goal because somebody down the street has it or one of your girlfriends just got promoted? You know, you really have to stop and think about your intentions. Is
Right.
this what you really want?
Yeah.
Or is it because somebody else has it?
Or it makes you look good.
Makes you look good. Yep. Because people, you know, you get caught up in the title, the money, all those things. And at the end of the day, I realized, wait a second, what am I doing? You know, I had to reassess, pull myself back, talk to God and say, okay, I haven't been listening. I've been listening to me. I've not been asking you to lead me. And that is when I truly became the person that I wanted to be, that walked in my faith, that didn't just talk about it, but lived it.
So then that's when the self-care uh,
Yes,
came into play. You know,
absolutely.
and I think it has to start in the mind first.
It
You know,
does.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's what um, you're saying you had to do.
Yeah, it was a
Definitely
hard,
should.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was hard for me because even in my mind when I knew I was burnout, I was tired, I was not the wife I should be, I was not the mother I really could be or the friend because I was so worried about getting to that next thing. Um, then you felt guilty when you do decide, okay, I am going to take care of myself. And you know, self-care can be so many things. I think people get caught up that self-care is going to the spa and you know, all those things. Self-care can be sleeping in. It can be staying in your pajamas all day. You know, when my daughter said to me one day, she was probably like maybe 7 or 8, and she was like, "What are we doing today?" And I was like, "Actually, we're not doing anything today." And so she started calling those days stay-at-home day. "We're having stay-at-home day?" And I'm like, "Yep, we're having stay-at-home day." And she's like, "Can I stay in my pajamas?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah.
We implemented something that we call snack dinner. And she's 17, get ready to turn 18, and we still do snack dinner. And
Wow.
snack dinner used to be Fridays where I was like, look, what do you want to eat? I'm not killing myself about making this meal and making sure you have your vegetables and whatever. What do you want to eat? And it could have ended up being true snacks. Like we're having, you know, chicken fingers, we're having potato skins, we're having, you know, mozzarella sticks and we're watching movies, whatever.
Yeah.
It
One thing
became
I
more.
notice about you too is
Mhm.
that you do a lot of fun things together,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
do admire that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is
Mhm.
very important to me, for her to know that I was present, to feel my presence, and to know that for the big things and the little things, I was there.
Mhm.
And I think I had a lot of guilt around that as a single mom who's always worked and traveled for my job and having like a high demand job. I never wanted her to feel she was second. So part of life is having fun. And I love to have fun and I
Yes,
love
I
to
see.
laugh. Yeah. And I love to like try new things. And my daughter is an adventurous spirit.
Okay.
She likes to try things, some things that I'm like, I'm not sure mommy's doing that. but I'll try it.
Yeah.
And I realize when I think back to my childhood, I think, wow, the things that I remember most was the time spent with my parents. Like I can remember my dad was in a bowling league and he bowled on Thursdays. And on Thursday, my mom would pick me up from dance school and we would go to McDonald's and we would go and watch my dad bowl. And I loved Thursday. Now, it wasn't like they spent a ton of money. It wasn't
Yeah.
like all these things that these kids today, it has to be this event and that event. It's just really the simple quality time things. So my daughter and I do dates together. Sometimes we just go to Starbucks. We spend hours in
Do
Barnes and
you
Noble.
really? Oh, in
Hours.
Barnes& Noble,
Barnes and
yeah.
Noble. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I just want to hear what she's thinking,
Mm.
listen to her thoughts and, really listen to her and let her know that I'm listening and just hear her thoughts and ideas, even if I don't agree with them, because
Right, right,
she's
right.
17.
And in the
And I'm
back of
like,
your mind, you're counting, you know?
yes, yes. And I'm like, okay. I don't know about that, but you know what? I feel that God gives us our children as a lesson for us, where there's something they need from us, and there's something we need from them.
Yes.
And I probably have learned the most about myself from
Yeah.
my daughter.
Oh, they definitely, that's, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even know what to call it, but
Mhm.
if you're paying attention, like you said, you will learn from them.
Oh,
Might
yeah.
not always be able to swallow the pill, but
Absolutely. There's that part.
yeah, but you do
Yeah, but
learn from them.
and they help you see yourself,
Yeah,
they help you really see yourself. So,
yeah.
yeah,
I,
it was important for me. A big part of my self-care was allowing myself to have fun again. Like I love to dance and I danced all through as a child, all through high school. And then when I was in college, I danced in a dance company. And
okay.
then I graduated from college and thought I had to be this serious working person. And I stopped dancing.
Oh, wow.
And maybe 3 years ago, I was like, I signed up for a ballroom dance class and
See, I want to do that. Yeah, I want to do
amazing.
that. It's
Best thing
amazing.
ever. I'm like, why did I wait so long to do this? And my instructor was like, he's like, have you danced before? You seem to be catching on really quickly.
Ah,
And I'm like, I danced for years and I forgot the joy that it brought me. So,
yeah. I
yeah,
took what's it called? African American dancing.
yeah,
Uh,
amazing.
yeah, but I do want to do the ballroom dancing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And it was funny. My brother-in-law was giving me a really hard time. And he's like, are you going to have like a recital? Like, what are you doing? Where are you going on Tuesdays? Like, what is it? And I'm like, Scott, I am dancing. And I think he really just couldn't understand it. So for my birthday that year, I asked my instructor if I could do like a mini class for my friends and family. And so we went to the studio on a Saturday and they taught everybody, I think it was the samba is what they taught. And my sister and my brother-in-law had so much fun. He's like, this is what you have been doing? And I'm
Wow.
like, yes,
Yeah.
and it was such a great connection for everybody.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Mhm.
That's good. So I don't want to keep you long. I do appreciate you being here. This is a good conversation. But I do want you to take a moment. And I don't think this is not your first book.
No,
Yeah,
this
this
is
is
actually my third
your
book.
third book.
It's
Yeah.
my third book, yes.
Talk
And
about it a little.
Okay, so my new book is, like I said, it's a workbook. I brought my little copy with me.
Good.
It's called Conquering the Chaos, and this is the one that I use to edit and things like that. And you'll notice two images, and this is my alter ego. This is Download Debbie.
Okay.
This little image here, and the one side you see, she's super serious. She's at work at her desk, and the other one shows a very zen kind of like relaxed pose. And I really just wanted to show the variance in who we are, and that if you do this and you're organized and you manage your time well, you will have time to do the things that bring you joy, bring you peace, and where you're able to just enjoy your life. So that's really kind of like the summary of it. I
Yeah.
have on my website, I have several avatars, and honestly, the avatars are different women, and they have all been me at some point. So there is a avatar that is a single young woman in her late 20s, career focused, but feels like she doesn't have time for herself. She's so focused on work and traveling that she doesn't have time to go to church. She doesn't have time to go to the gym. There is an avatar that is married with two kids and she works. So the struggles and the juggles between her and her husband, who thinks, maybe his job is more important and time consuming, and she still has to fight for like her time. Why do I have to make dinner all the time? And why am I doing all the laundry? Then I have an avatar that's a single mom, who was me. And then there's a mom that is married with children that is a stay at home mom, which people think, what is she doing? She is a stay at home mom. You should have all the time in the world. But we know that that's not true, because being a stay at home mom is the hardest job ever.
Yeah.
And expectations on you are crazy. So I
Oh,
have these
yes.
avatars on my website just so women can kind of see who they are and where they fit in. I talk a lot about my workshop is not like a one stop or a one fix all for everybody. It's custom. Everybody is different. Everybody manages their life differently. Some people rely heavily on paper and use a planner. Some people use, technology and everything is in their phone. So I have to plan differently for people and offer different solutions, based on where the person is.
Hmm. And you said that you figured out that this was a part of you during the pandemic. Am
Yeah.
I correct?
Yeah, you're correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
did it. I taught, like, I literally put something together. I was asked to put something together, and I was like, is anybody really going to be interested in this? And I think that is what happens a lot of times with our gifts. We think we don't see them as a gift. We see them as just like a part of who we are, but God put it in you for a reason. And when I had such a positive reaction from people that were like, I never thought of that, or this has been so helpful, I was like, really? This, because you see people and they seem to be organized and in a good place and they're living life, right? They're getting through the day, but you don't realize what some people's struggles are. So the first time I taught it was very rough. I just kind of put some things together, but I then realized, like there's something here. And I started kind of working through what should be in the workshop, what to offer. At the time, I didn't even have coaching packages available. I didn't have any kind of a program made. So the first time I did it, I had so much fun doing it. And when it was over, I was like, oh, well, that was so easy. Well, it was easy because that's the
Was
gift that
in
God
you.
gave me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when
So
I've done any workshops in person or one-on-ones, I feel like it's a gift for me. I enjoy serving and helping other people, especially women. And if it's going to improve their lives in any way, then it's worth it.
so do you train on your job too?
In this current role, I do not, but I have
Okay.
in the past. So
Okay.
in my role when I was at Carter's, I train, whereas I have to train like my team. But in my senior merchant role that I had when I was at Carter's, I was very involved with HR, and
Okay.
I did a lot of seminars and a lot of one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
But it was because they realized that I loved it, and I did something just with my team and it got back to them and they were like, "Oh, well, we all need this too." So,
Mm.
it kind of led me in that direction. Um, who knows what will happen in my current job. I just I love what I'm doing. And when I started in my current role, we were fully virtual. We weren't even in the
Really?
office.
Oh,
So
wow.
we are now just since the beginning of 23, I guess February of 23, we went back to the office 3 days a week.
Okay. So I keep hearing you say coach. So you're a coach at this present time?
Mhm. I
Hmm.
am. And I think
Hmm.
that's been a hard thing for me to like own.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm owning it. I
Okay.
hear him saying to me, and I've had people reach out to me and say, "Hey, remember when you did that workshop? Can we go through some things? Like, I need your help." And I'm like, "Okay, this is real. This is viable. There is a need. There are people that need my help."
Hmm.
So
So the coaching that you do is centered around chaos. What's it centered around?
it's centered around time management,
Time
time
management.
management,
Yeah,
maximizing
that's
your
a big
time.
thing.
I would say that's the core of it.
Hmm.
Um, and organizing your like getting a game plan together around your chaos. I've worked with some people that are working on something specific.
Okay.
They may have something that feels like a big rock, something that they really feel they have to get accomplished. So a lot of times I'll work with them on like your game plan to get to that. Other
Okay.
times it's like my life in general is out of order. Can you help me?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's something as simple. I worked with somebody recently and it was all around meal prep. I'm a big meal prep
Oh,
person,
okay.
and it was helping her get her arms around meal prep for her and her family, because she was spending so much time and so stressed out at the end of the day, worrying about what to do for dinner and going through the drive-through all the time, and they were eating out a lot, and the expense was getting crazy with this, crazy as groceries are
Yeah,
at this
I
point.
know. I
I
know.
mean, crazy.
Yes.
And so she reached out. She's like, "Hey, do you still do that meal prep stuff?" And I'm like, "I meal prep every Sunday." I meal prep every Sunday. And sometimes I just do it for myself. But I meal prep for my family too. Like, we have a menu. I know what we're going to eat. I know the days that are a little bit like fluid. Let's just go out and grab something. But yeah, so
Oh, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Well, thank you, Leslie. I hope I can get you to come back again and just
absolutely. I
share
would love
some
to.
more. This has been good. I hope that, let me say hello to those that are here. Um, Thank you for being here. Thank you, Alfreda. Thank you, Nikki. Um, I appreciate those that are speaking that hasn't said anything. Those that come on later. I just appreciate Leslie Briscoe Andrew being here today with us,
Me
just to
too.
share some tips on getting through the chaos. That's what I should have called it.
Yeah.
Getting through the chaos.
Getting through. And it is chaos.
Yeah, yep, yep. But even with the Tierra's group, I remember you talked a lot about time management,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's a valuable point right there. That time management, and when we don't manage our time right, as your workbook, you have the lady that is managing her time right, so she's able to do both. When
Yep.
we don't manage our time right, we limit ourselves from doing, I guess, have a balance.
Absolutely. And it's
Yeah.
really, it's like looking for that harmony, that blend. There are always times that you may have a special project or a deadline and you have to put in a lot of time. But then there are also those times that you can pull back and you're like, you know what? I'm going to leave work early today. I'm going to get to my daughter's school and pick her up from school because my meetings cancel. If I get a meeting that cancels at the end of the day, old me would fill that with another task.
Something else. Right, right, right.
New me is
Uh-huh.
like, okay, I'm going home, or I'm going to use this time and go out to lunch, or I'm going to go work out. So really just pivoting and using that time, maximizing it for what you need to do.
Yeah. And that's the key point right there. It's not what the job needs you to do, is what you
Yes.
need to do for yourself to
Yep.
better benefit yourself.
Absolutely.
We do go to jobs and we like to benefit the job. I
Hmm.
was talking about it this morning, how this job I had, and when there was three people out, and I would work all three jobs
Of
because
course.
I didn't want them to lack anything.
Hmm.
And I
And
and
you were tired.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'd go in first thing in the morning, and I would stay to 7 or 9 o'clock at night. They
Mhm.
didn't care.
No, no,
The
they
work
were
was
like, "Oh,
getting
she's gonna do that?
done.
Okay, go, Leslie."
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
and in the at the time, you're like, "I'm doing something, I'm helping."
Yeah,
No, and we have to be a little bit selfish about it because they
right.
are,
They
you
are.
know, there a lot of times I think we just are givers, or you feel like this is the right thing to do, and sometimes that may be, but when you step back and you're like, "Okay, nobody else is doing this. I'm
And it
here.
wasn't.
Nobody's saying thank you. Nobody's, like, paying me extra."
Yeah,
It gets to the point that you're like, "Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna take advantage of my time." There's a book I read years ago. Andy Stanley wrote a book called Choosing to Cheat,
Choosing
and
to cheat.
Choosing to Cheat, and I was like, "A minister's writing a book about choosing to cheat?" And it's a tiny little book, and I read it probably in, like, a couple of days, but it was about the demands he had on his life and how, yes, he was the minister and pastor of a very large, church, very dynamic church, thriving, but he was also the father of 2 girls and a husband. And he missed everything. He wasn't there to pick his kids up. He missed band concerts. His wife did everything.
Yeah.
And because he was working for God and he was a pastor,
That's a
every
whole nother subject right there because
exactly.
that's what we do. We're
Yep.
in, and that's not what God calls us to do.
Right.
That's what
And
we
he said
do.
it took like he got a huge wake up call and he's like, I'm using the excuse that I'm the pastor, I have to be available, I have to be here. And he's like, and while that is true, I'm a father, I am a husband, and I'm not taking care of my home. And so he said he got to the point where he started looking for those buckets that I'm talking about, those buckets of time where, you know what? My conference ended early. I'm going home. I don't have anything, at the church or anything pressing until this afternoon. I'm going to work from home this morning and I'm going to have breakfast with my kids and I'm going to let my wife sleep in. Like just those little things that you don't think have a large impact, but over time, those little things have a huge, huge impact.
They do.
So that book really resonated with me too.
So we need to get our lives in order,
Yes,
and figure out what's valuable to us and what's not.
absolutely.
Especially when you're in ministry and you work in the church,
Mhm.
you do miss a lot of things because you think that, quote unquote, that's where you need to be,
Mhm.
and it's
Yep,
really your family is where you need to be.
exactly.
That's why we have a lot of children out here that don't want anything to do with the church
You're
or
absolutely
anything
right.
like that
Yeah.
because we
They're
wouldn't.
resentful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They're resentful. They feel like they gave up their father, their mother, and they don't want anything to do with it. And he spoke about that in that book, and it was really, it made me think. I'm like, this is a pastor saying this, and
yeah.
it came from a biblical standpoint. So for me, everything is about my faith, and everything is, the decisions that I make are based on what God says to me. I pray about everything, and I'm just grateful that I'm to a point where I don't move until I know that's what he wants me to do, and
Hmm.
that's a progress. I mean, I can remember I was pretty good at it, but I could be deterred because then I'd be like, "Oh, work needs
Yes,
this. If
yes,
I do that, then
yeah,
I'm gonna get this." And so turning that mindset off is hard, but it is possible.
yeah. So if I do this, I might end up with high blood pressure. I might end up with diabetes
Exactly.
and
You know what?
all
It
these
is
other
so
things.
true. I have a good friend right now that have worked with, and her health has been off. And at first they weren't sure, and she's pretty young, like and healthy, but having some heart issues. It all came back to stress. It all
Yeah,
came back to stress, and I said to her, "Is this place worth it?" I don't think so. I'm like, maybe is it the team? Is it the role? You can only do that digging deep to figure out what it is, but it's not normal. Like, I don't come to work and have like I don't have high blood pressure. I'm not stressed out or not sleeping
Hmm.
because of these things. And you're absolutely right. Stress will kill you.
Yeah.
It can kill you and age you.
Hmm.
And
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
you really have to really think of yourself holistically. I told my old job, I want to work for a place that I can bring my whole self to work. I want to be able to bring Leslie, all of me to work. I don't want to have to like hide this part of me, not say I'm having a hard time at home with so and so. I want to be able to bring my whole self to work. And corporate America can make that hard. I
Oh,
think,
yeah, because that's not their view.
yeah,
That's
you
not the,
have to, yeah, you come in and you are, everything is fine. If your world is falling apart elsewhere, oh well.
that's
But
leave that outside till you leave.
leave it at the door. Right.
Leave it.
But I realize when I can bring my whole self to work and I don't have to put on different masks and I can totally be who I am so much better. I work that much harder. You get more out of me when I can be fully who I am.
Yeah,
And so to me, that is the ultimate goal.
that's good. Yeah, that stress thing. Yeah, I'm gonna in what's next month, March. I
Yeah,
want to really deal with the stress because all of it is a part of self care. And
absolutely.
what does it all boil down to? Loving yourself enough to want to do
Absolutely.
what you need to do to make sure that you survive healthy, the right
Exactly.
mind. You know,
Exactly.
so many
Because
people
it's
retire and
mhm, die.
because of the stress and everything
Mhm,
else, they
yeah.
don't get to enjoy retirement.
No, absolutely not. And it's hard. Like I said, in that reel, I was like, I never said no. I was always like, yep, yep, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. And I regret it. When I look back, I'm like, why did I do that? I missed this, 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 and this. Like that was the wrong decision. And I tell people that now, and I'm like, but it is a brave decision and choice to say no. I know it's not easy.
Right.
You have to be brave, but when you create that boundary, it's respected. I recently was supposed to go. My boss called and told me about a trip, and it was in February, and we said we weren't traveling in February except for the last week. So I kind of planned life around that. And they were like, we need you to go. I forget where it is. I think it's Ohio. And I was like, totally, I'm good. What are the dates? And they're like, well, would the 22nd work for you? And I was like, no. I'm like, I can go on the 21st or the 20th. And they were like, okay. And then somebody came back again with the 22nd. And I'm like, I don't know what they didn't hear, but I'm not traveling on the 22nd. And finally, I just said, hey guys, my daughter's birthday is on the 22nd. I'm not traveling. I'm actually taking that day off. So if you want me to go, it's going to have to be early in the week or the following week.
Hmm.
And I probably didn't have the confidence to say that 15 years ago,
Right, right, right,
but I do now. And if I'm looked at differently, I don't care
right.
because it is more important for me to be at home on my daughter's birthday than it is for me to be flying across the country.
Saying,
So,
I'm sorry, I have to go. They need
exactly.
me to go now, you know.
Exactly. It's my job,
Yeah.
please understand. I'll make it up to you. Nope, we're not even going to have to do that because I'm not going.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So I just want to end with this, the part where you talked about how you had to be seen
Yeah.
and what that looked like.
It was exhausting. It was exhausting, because I was constantly looking over my shoulder and constantly not necessarily focusing on the project or what I was working on, but it was, am I good enough? Am I working hard enough? Am I being seen? Do they notice that I'm doing X, Y, and Z? I was like looking for the credit. And I was burned out. I worked around the clock. When I would come home from work and I'd put on my mom cape and I would make dinner for Gabrielle and I'd get her bathed and get her to bed. And then I would take a shower, put my pajamas on, come back downstairs and get online. And I would work for however many more hours. And then I would get up before she would wake up, make lunch, do all that stuff, get dressed, take her to daycare. I mean, I just did that. It was like a I didn't even think. I just was, it was such a habit. And I realized like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. And I've gotten a promotion here or there, but is it really worth it? No,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. And I want to say thank you for those that are listening now or come on later. I want to say thank you from Leslie and Leslie
Yeah, the Leslie's.
to say. And
Double Leslie.
it was a privilege to have you here. Nikki said she needed this.
Oh,
And
thank you,
I
Nikki.
needed it, even though I'm retired and I don't work now. But even with some of the conversation, there's things I
Mhm,
still need to change and do differently
mhm.
and rearrange. So it's a very needed conversation, and I thank you. So, oh, how can they get in touch with you?
Oh, you can get in touch with me. I would say the easiest way, and I can send you my link tree,
Hmm.
because my link tree has like my website and everything on there. But
Oh,
my website is bejoyyes.com.
be
And it's
joy, like
BG,
be,
yeah, it's BEJOY hyphen YES.com. And it's a play on the word joyous, but it's saying yes to joy.
hope I did this right. Did I do it right or wrong?
Let me see. I'm going to see if I can just put the little link in here for you. Let's see. I don't see it.
Okay, can you type it in?
Yeah,
Okay.
I will do that. Do you see that in our chat?
Oh yeah, that's nothing like what I put. Uh, let me put it over here so that they can have it.
Awesome.
There we go.
Yep.
Now,
Yep. That's it.
I don't know where I got the W from or
That's okay.
the so, but thank you so much for being here. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, not only you, but everyone else. And that we will get back together and Leslie
I would
will
love
be
that.
here again. Um, Yeah, and thank you so much. February 1st is here. Let's get it rocking and moving. If you're not yet, get out the chaos and get to moving. Until we meet again, have a great day and talk to you guys soon. Love you.
Thank you.